3, 2, 1.
My name is Nick. I'm a full-time trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free for traders. These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line. This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade. Wow, I'd love to get in on this. Technical insights that really look good to me. There we go. We're live. All right, guys, welcome back to another live stream. Thank you for being here. We got people already in the chat hanging out, and I am happy to be back for another week. It is Monday, so the markets are open and doing their thing. So I figured we would do what we usually do, which is go through markets, talk about setups, and sort of see how you guys are doing. How's everybody doing? What are you guys looking at in terms of trading today? Let me know in the chat. I'll try and look at some of the charts that you recommend, but very glad to be here with you guys, and happy to have some of you guys who show up here each time. Shout out to Caitlin and Andrew and Chris, Thomas. Thanks everybody for being here. Heaven, Manny, Trader Bart in the chat. What's up, my friend? Wawa, good to see everybody. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so we will be taking a look at some markets today. We'll be doing some technical and fundamental analysis as we usually do. And I figured we would start with the dollar, sort of just sticking to our usual theme. The dollar here looking really interesting coming into this week. The question is, are we going to see a follow through of last week's sort of bearishness that we saw? We'll back out here for a moment, and you can see the daily, or sorry, the 4-hour view. We came up into this 93.1 area, and then we saw like a nice little, dip, and then follow through for the end of the week. So the question is, are we going to see follow through from there into this week? Well, we saw the dollar make a little stab here at a move higher today. You can see the candles here sort of finding some wicks on the bottom and then rounding off a little bit. My opinion for the dollar is sort of weak at this point. I think that, for the time being, we have, sort of reached the limits, at least to my bullishness when it comes to the dollar. I think that the dollar may look to strengthen over the next several months, but I think in the short term, it's sort of run out of steam here. And as more of a short-term swing trader, I am looking to capitalize on movements that we, see in the here and the now. And what we kind of had recently was we did get very good jobs numbers recently, but then we sort of saw CPI, a little bit of a lag there in terms of inflation concerns, which, the Fed has been watching very closely the inflation figures to sort of gauge probably where they need to be with monetary policy tightening. And as we know, monetary policy tightening causes currencies to go up, right? So when there's rumors of, rate hikes, or there's rumors of tapering, which is basically the cutting of government spending on bonds, or AKA printing money. When they print more money, it causes the currency to go down. When they print less money, it tends to be a positive thing for the currency and cause it to even appreciate or go up. So where we're at with the dollar, for me right now, I do think that the dollar could head right on back down to the bottom of this range. From a technical analysis perspective, like I said, you sort of have this double top potential here and this little breakout to the downside there, looking really interesting just for a continuation back down to the bottom of this range. So if you are a day trader and you're watching some of the dollar crosses, there may be some opportunities intraday to pick up some opportunities to short the dollar. Of course, this is just my opinion. As always with these streams, I'm not telling you to go take these trades or anything like that. I'm just sharing, my thoughts and opinions as a trader. But, I think that the dollar has some potential downside here this week. We will have to see how everything plays out. But like I said, I think most likely we could see a return in the dollar down to the lows. Now, that is, like I said, is my opinion. And one thing about being a trader is that you have to sort of understand that as a trader, you're not a fortune teller. You're not able to pick exactly what's going to happen all the time correctly. And as a YouTuber in this space, you sort of get used to a lot of criticism in what you say. For example, I might say that the dollar here, I think, has potential to head back to 92 on the dollar index. And then I may be completely wrong about that. We may see the dollar rally right on past the highs. And then in that situation, people will usually comment on my videos and be like, Nick, you were wrong. You're stupid. Like, you don't know what you're doing. And the thing is, you sort of, even YouTuber or not, you need to sort of understand that if you're making those opinions and you're making those sort of predictions, you have to understand that predictions are very hard in financial markets. It's more so what you do with those predictions that really counts. If I stack all of the reasoning behind why I think that the dollar could come lower, and then I'm right about that, how am I going to handle that? Am I going to let a winner run? Am I going to build a position and even capture, some great big winners off of that? And if I'm wrong, how am I going to handle that? Am I going to, get stubborn and hold on to a major loss? That's sort of a tendency that we see a lot of times with newer traders, is the refusal to give up on a trade. To me, it's really important that if you are wrong about a trade, it's better just to accept it and look for another opportunity than it is to sort of stubbornly refuse to be wrong and to hold on to losers and add to losers. And, that can be very, very dangerous. And a lot of traders find themselves doing that sort of thing. So, my opinion is I try and shy away from that. So with the dollar, like I said, I think the dollar could come down lower. So I have a bearish bias on the US dollar going into this week. Let's see if we can take a look at some of the individual crosses and maybe pick out some setups that could play out. Now, I do want to pause before I do this, and I want to just take a quick look at Forex Factory, show you guys what's going on in terms of news this week. We do have some red folders here on the docket. You've got things like core retail sales that could be very, very impactful on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, for the US dollar. You have also got Powell speaking tomorrow. That could be, actually, that almost certainly will be impactful to markets in some way or another. So we'll watch that for sure. And then you have tomorrow as well. So Tuesday seems to be the big day. You've got NZD statements or monetary policy meetings, which could be highly impactful for those NZD crosses. So if you're watching the NZD or the US dollar, tomorrow seems like could be a volatile day, depending on what that news comes out to be. And then finally, we have some GBP, CAD, CPI, and then you have the dollar potentially being moved on Wednesday with another meeting minute there with the Fed. So, and then finally, to close out the red folders for the week, we have Aussie unemployment numbers coming out at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern on Wednesday. Okay. There's a look at your news. So it does seem like today we are sort of in the clear for major US dollar news. So looking at Euro USD, if we just zoom in here a little bit, you sort of had price come back and retag at this level here. If we draw the fibs, you can kind of see price just narrowly missed. Let's see if we can, is it going to touch it? Nope. It just narrowly missed the 50% retracement before finding a little bit of sell pressure here today. And, if you're watching the Euro USD, if you are looking at this thing from a short bias, I mentioned on my Sunday video that, going into this week as a sort of a bear more likely on the dollar, I am being cautious with this daily chart, because if you look at the daily chart on the Euro USD, you do notice that you have this really long-term major level of support that has just found a strong level of interest from buyers. So what I mean by that is that, you scroll out on this chart, you find this really key level at 1.17, 1.175, that range there. And you see that, we had a massive buying off of this level back in April of this year. The question is, as we come back to that same level, will the buy pressure be equally as strong? Well, maybe not equally as strong, but fairly strong, at least in the sense that we are seeing a reaction from this area. So there may be some follow through off of the reaction of that. I would not be surprised to see the Euro USD retrace a little bit more. We have been quite consolidation heavy, if you will. So, I think it is possible that we could see, especially if dollar weakness continues. Like I said, dollar weakness could carry the Euro USD back to a level like this, this being more likely the 38.2% retracement. There it is, which gets us all the way up to 1.195. Now that would sort of rely on some dollar weakness for the next month or so, really, because most likely we're not going to just pop right up there unless we have some crazy volatility. And sorry to disappoint for the traders out there who are watching the markets. Unfortunately, there's not actually something incredibly exciting every single day in markets. Sometimes there's weeks of time where, like here, you can see this was such a boring time. That's like 3 weeks of trading here on the daily chart for the Euro USD. That was just really, really boring. You just had back and forth, nothing really decisive. And then in just a matter of days, you have these sort of major moves. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of waiting here to really see the move play out. But it does seem like I said, we have found a bottom for the time being, and may see the Euro USD retrace a bit more. Now, I'm not saying that the Euro USD is headed to the heavens. I'm just saying that it does look short-term bullish to me as we sort of rally off of the lows. Let's go take a quick look, you guys, at the Euro USD. If you're watching the Euro, if you have an opinion on this, let's go over to the website here. I'm going to head over to a1trading.com. This is our website. You guys can head over here anytime you'd like. Again, a1trading.com, and I'm going to go to retail sentiment. Okay. And I'd like to see what the average trader is currently thinking with the euro. So the euro, okay, so it's really actually not very interesting. It seems like the euro is 51% of retail traders are short biased, whereas 48% of retail traders are long biased. That gives us a little bit of nothing, to be honest. That tells us that, the retail crowd is sort of just mixed on the euro. I would imagine if the euro dollar continues to go higher, you're going to see retail traders pick up more short positions. Usually what happens is, from retail sentiment standpoints, is that you usually see as a market is sort of, going back as it trends strongly one direction. For example, during this time, you have retail buying this market. And then if markets were to, for example, rally strongly, I would imagine that you would see mostly retail shorting this market, right? Usually what we see is that the strong trends in the markets are being rejected or trying to be sold into or bought into by the average retail trader. So, I don't think that trend has picked up yet. We may not see any, retail short squeezes just yet, but if we do see shorts piled on by the retail traders, you may see some opportunity to look for, that strong breakout there on the Euro USD to the upside. Okay, that's my thoughts on the Euro. What do you guys think? Comment, let everybody know. Are you bullish or are you bearish? Oh, also, by the way, you guys, if you see messages like this, I'm popping this up because there is a scammer probably posting stuff on our channel. If you see stuff like this over on Facebook, we don't do anything like that. A1 trading team, unbelievable. I sent 0.02 Bitcoin to the above address and that's a scam. Please avoid that sort of thing. And to people who are out there scamming, I think you have better talents out there in the world than to try and steal money from people who need that money themselves. So don't hurt other people to save yourself. That's kind of wrong. I know, there's people in tough situations around the world. People are, starving and they, they feel that scamming is their only path. But I promise you there's got to be other ways than just straight up hurting other people. Anyways, with that said, like I said, avoid those sort of comments. If you see those things, then definitely report those users. They are just scammers looking for unsuspecting victims to take their money. And you will never see us do something like this. Like, we don't do Bitcoin, amazing plans like trading plan. No, we don't do anything like that. That's just scams. Please be careful out there, my friends. I don't want you to get scammed by the people out there doing that. So, how's the Taliban issue cause an effect on markets? Actually, that's a really great question that I don't have an answer to. I am curious to see how that, you may be, truthfully, you may see a little bit of dollar yen weakness off of yeah. So maybe some dollar yen weakness. In fact, we're here on dollar yen. We might as well talk about it. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is why. I'd have to do some more research on my own, and maybe you guys can let me know what you think. But I think that there may be sort of a buyback of the yen today in response to some of the fears in Afghanistan right now. I'm by no means a professional or, experienced person to talk about that subject. I cannot give you, resources to go look into other than, we go do some of the research out there that, they've got professional media sources that are, covering that sort of thing. But the situation in Afghanistan could cause, from a market standpoint, concern. Right, you may have some risk-off sentiment come into the market in response to something like that. In terms of political opinions, I'm not here to share anything like that on my channel. But just from a market standpoint, you may have a little bit of fear in terms of, okay, that situation could be a cause for concern. From an investment standpoint, that's a lot of money down the drain in some respects. So, you have that sort of situation going on. So like I said, feel free to go check that situation out if you would like. The situation in Afghanistan is sort of headline news around the world right now. But it could actually be sort of what is driving this dollar yen sell-off. I mean, that's a serious sell-off on the dollar yen today. You can see from the peak there that we made just last week, we are currently down 158 pips in just a matter of days. So quite a substantial sell-off there for the dollar yen. And honestly, I had someone in our VIP group I mentioned on the Sunday video that was short on the dollar yen. So that is probably working out really, really well. Congrats to that person. They know who they are. I'm not sure if they want to be mentioned on stream, but congratulations to them. Either ways, again, we saw this level of resistance hold beautifully, and the news there probably being a strong, catalyst there to push the dollar yen further. And honestly, there may be some more sentiment to the downside that could drive the dollar yen much lower, right? If you get more dollar weakness this week, the dollar yen may be an excellent candidate for shorting for more downside. I would probably watch for a breakout underneath this level. The yen does seem quite strong right now in response, like I said, to some of the situation around the world, as well as just, we also have the Delta variant. So there's a lot of sort of things piling up that could cause the yen to continue to strengthen. Overall, I am not the biggest fan of going long in the yen for the long term. I'm sort of bearish on the yen, but in the short term, maybe the day trade side of things, short-term swing trade, and maybe there's some opportunities on the yen to keep an eye on. Like I said, I think you had a really beautiful rejection there at the top, price following through now, and I would watch for this break underneath for setups. For example, you might look at this thing and say, okay, well, I have a short bias now. I'd like to see a break underneath, and you may look for something like this. Right, here's a pretty clean setup from just a technical analysis standpoint. If you saw breakdowns, right, pullbacks, looking for a continuation there, that gives you a pretty decent risk to reward right there. You're risking about 65 pips or so for a move down to the lows here of April. You're looking at that move being, what is that? About 160 pips. So you're risking 65 to make 160. So not the worst scenario in my opinion. The dollar yen, like I said, really coming in here and continuing to hold the each attempt by the bulls. The sellers seem to be gaining strength, if not now looking like they are in complete control for the time being. EU, Sean, you can go back in the video. We have just taken a look at the dollar index. We've taken a look at the euro USD, and now we are on to the dollar yen. I would like to take a look next at the pound dollar, see how this one's going here today. So the pound sort of been of a mixed sentiment one for me right now. I do like on the lower time frames. If we look at the 1 hour view, I was noticing this. We have sort of this breakout here of resistance. This is a very ugly trend line. I'm aware. I'm sorry. It's just a general idea. It does look like price is trying to break out of this trend line. And I actually have a video coming out soon about trend lines. I'm really excited for it. It's sort of why trend lines can be very subjective. Here's exactly why. I just drew two different trend lines, and each one I would say was a fair trend line. People are always going to debate which is the right trend line. But again, depends on the time frame you're looking at, etc. I do like this one from a 4 hour perspective. So like I said, we had lower highs coming into this market, and now a little bit of a breakout here, it looks like, on the old pound dollar. So may see some upside there, especially if dollar weakness persists into this week. You have a couple things to consider. You do have resistance here. I would like to see that probably break out if the pound dollar strength is set to continue. Probably something like this could be, looking for good entries to the long side and continuations. I think that, that gives you a decent risk to reward already, just from like a break and retest sort of situation, a move back to the highs there with a stop underneath here. That's setting up for a pretty decent move, I would say, especially if dollar strength sort of continues to diminish there. So just my thoughts. That's why does a currency pair retest? For a number of reasons. A lot of times you may just see, price pops to the upside, and then you get a little bit of profit taking. You get a little, push back as some of the buyers who may have bought down here, they start closing out their positions, and that causes the price to go back down, right? Because when you are in a long position, to close that position, you have to sell back to the market. So lots of sell pressure can bring the price back down. And then, there may be fresh buyers who want to buy the retracement or buy the dip, right? So not so bad. I went long on that breakout this morning. Chris, congratulations. That's awesome. That's a nice little move there so far. We'll see if it can continue. Like I said, I think a big thing for the pound would be to break above that 1.388 level to see if we could find, sort of fresh demand there. That's what I'm thinking for the pound dollar. We'll keep going along today. So we've looked, for those of you guys who are just joining in, if you'd like to see the euro dollar, the dollar index, the pound dollar, or the dollar yen, all of those are in the past of this video. So you can just rewind the video if you want to see any of those. We will get to things like gold. So don't worry. People have been asking a lot about gold. So we will get there. Here's a quick look at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD continuing to sort of strengthen here. I guess the Canadian dollar is quite weak right now. Is that the case? Let's go look at things like CAD yen for a second. So CAD yen, yeah, selling off pretty substantially. CAD Swiss also very, very sold off. You've got Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD would be interesting. Yeah, this one's mixed because both of these currencies are sort of weak right now. But yeah, anyway, so dollar CAD has been an interesting catalyst. I was going to point out that we've had on the 4-hour chart these these moving averages sort of just holding their own. It does seem like price really wants to stay trending higher. And so I would watch for a potential breakout here on the 4-hour chart. I do like the idea of a breakout and retest of this level, 1.26. Something like this could be quite interesting, right, for continuation plays. But again, right now where we sit, the USD CAD has really just slowed to I don't know if that's a word, slowed down to a grinding halt here. I would like the idea of a breakout, like I said, for more upside, but I'd be sort of just cautiously waiting to see if we can actually get some form of, a spike in volatility and then looking to try and ride some of that movement, especially with these moving averages sort of starting to tangle up now. I would really like to see a nice breakout there just to show that, bulls are still in control. I am shorting the Euro CAD. Let's go take a look at Euro CAD while we're speaking of CAD pairs. Euro CAD here rallying higher. Actually, that's not the worst short. I actually kind of like that idea there. Let's see. Well, it's a little bit mixed. I like it here. It does seem like we're at the very upper limits of that move. We'll see if that can hold. We are seeing some lower highs there, so kind of nice. You've got this that might be what you're seeing. I think it's a decent technical analysis standpoint. Also very much depends if you're looking at the euro versus the Canadian dollar. The euro, I believe, has been pretty weak overall recently. What's euro yen doing? Yeah, the euro has been sort of getting beat up here a little bit. But against the CAD, it seems to be, doing a little bit better. Okay. But the question is, will euro weakness continue? I think it also has to do with oil. If you're watching the CAD pairs, oil has been really, really sold off. If oil bounces, you may see the CAD bounce with it, right? Because the Canadian economy is very tied to oil. When those two markets move, they tend to move together, right? You get Canadian dollar strength with oil strength usually. So for example, if you are looking at Euro CAD and you think that oil is weak, then you may say, okay, well, yeah, I'd like to actually, if you're shorting it, I would imagine that you're betting on oil to go up, right? Because you're saying, okay, Euro CAD, you have to think it's sort of like a bet on euro against oil, right? So you're almost saying, okay, if I'm shorting this, I'm shorting euro and I'm buying CAD, right? So if CAD strength is to come into play, you'd probably want to see a bounce on oil, which is sort of a risk on bet, right? If you're shorting euro CAD, it's sort of a proxy risk on bet. You are betting on things to improve. We do have the Delta variant right now, so I would say that it's sort of a mixed sentiment here for me. From a technical analysis perspective, I think it looks good, but from a fundamental, I would say it's sort of mixed, if not sort of on the bullish side for EuroCAD. That's just my opinion, though. Feel free to disagree with me. I'm not always right. Please don't think I am. I'm just like every other trader. I take losses. I'm not, here to tell you that I always win or anything like that. With that said, let's take a look at gold now. Gold, I am long at 1703 and still in my trade. This thing has just really been a big winner here for me. I'm loving the way it's playing out. I plan on holding this thing as tightly as possible. So let's talk a little bit about my gold trade. It's my chance to brag a little here. So I'll do that now. Like I said, I am long on gold at 1703.7. Here is the trade that I took. I'll share that now. Okay, here it is. Yeah, so I went long on gold inside of the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, I share all of my trades in my journal here. So I'll, my entry, my stop losses, the reasoning behind the trades. I mentioned that I'm long on gold at the yearly lows. Price is holding really, really well. I fortunately was able to get that price, as it dropped dramatically. I was able to jump in there on some of the bounce back and ride that trend right on back. So again, I went long, shared that trade alert with members, and I am still in my position. For those of you guys who are already members with us inside of the A1 trading community, I am still long on this. I still think that we have upside for gold, and I do plan on sort of trying to continue to ride this trade and hold my stops tight. So you guys know, if you're already in the Discord, I took the trade, and then I also shared my stop loss trails as things have gone along. But again, this thing is really rocket shipping higher. So I am continuing to hold on to my position. So I'll just give you guys a little visual as to what happened. So I went long at 1703, right around here is where I ended up getting into my long position there, and then shared that with members. And you can see the cool thing here, this is like the best case scenario. I bought into the trade and then immediately started seeing that big red candle turn into a big wick, which was the best feeling ever, right? You're sitting there, you took the trade, and then you're immediately in profit like that. There's no complaints there. So that I love when that happens. It doesn't happen every time, but it's great when it does. But anyways, I had my stop loss at 1680. So my stop loss was placed here, 1680. So I'll mark this as red. So yeah, so I went long on gold at 1703. My stop loss was here. Fortunately, this was on the bounce back, so I did not get stopped out, right? So on the way up is where I got in. So price bounced all the way down here, bounced up, and I jumped in here, put my stop loss in there, and then have since just trailed the stop loss with the trade. My stop loss is currently like right here, and I'm looking for more upside, and then I'd like to trail my stops from here. So my plan is to hopefully move this stop loss somewhere up into this region. For those of you guys who are following along with my trade inside of the Discord, like I said, if I make any updates, I will alert it there. And my plan is to probably move it just underneath this wick as long as we can see price break out from here. So I would like to see a break of structure here at the top. If we are able to start punching up into that 1800 range, that is where I would like to sort of try and trail that stop further up. So again, that's my plan. For those of you guys who are following along inside of the Discord, that's my thoughts. I do think that we have upside there. If you're watching gold into this week, like I said, I think that we could see a tag of 1800 at some point in the next week or two. We will see if that plays out. Like I said, it is sort of just at this point, it's just trailing my stop and letting it run. Maybe I'm right. Maybe it rolls over. But even if it does roll over, I am going to stop out for a nice profit there of several hundred pips. So again, 1703 is where I got in, somewhere around there. So currently, at this point, I would love to be able to trail my stop just a bit further, put it up there at, somewhere around 650 pips trailed in. But I would like to see, like I said, just a stronger pop above the previous high of day there on Friday. And then I will look to probably trail stops. Okay, so that is my thoughts for those of you guys who are watching along with gold. From there, I will say this. So if we look at the daily chart, so look at this daily bar. This is what got me so bullish on gold, was price came down to this level. I knew that inflationary concerns were still sort of looming. And I figured, okay, if I'm going to take a long position on gold, this is the chance to do it. So I ended up, like I said, going long here off the retest of basically yearly lows. Price rallied, and now is just a question of how far does it want to run. So a very good spot to be in when you are, in that spot where your stop loss is trailed, and you're just saying it's not about how, whether or not I make money, because I will be making money on this trade. It's just a matter of how much money am I actually going to capture? Am I going to continue to let stops run? Because you may see gold, do another one of these. And if gold does that, then I will be very, very happy with my position and probably trail stops even further, right? So the whole idea there is just letting this trade run. I don't know how far it's going to go. We will see if 1800 can hold, but for the most part, my plan is just to trail stops. Okay. That's my thought. So that is the idea, at least for gold going into this week. We'll see how it plays out. Like I said, if you are not already in the Discord and you would like to join it, you can see all the trades that I'm taking, including my trade on gold, there inside of the group. For those of you guys who are in there, you just head over to the trade alert section and then go to my trades. You can also see Frank. He took some trades in gold as well, I believe. And then Patrick is watching a lot of the Aussie pairs right now. So if you're not already in the group and you would like to, there's a link down below in the description and a promo code for our YouTube subscribers here. If you punch in that code, you get a discount for joining the group. So with that said, guys, that is going to wrap up the stream today. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Monday to you. Hope you stay safe in the markets. It is a sort of a rocky time. Things are kind of crazy. So whatever you're doing in the markets, I wish you good fortune. And also, please manage your risk, be safe. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you back next time.
I know you're expecting Nick, but my name's Julie and I do the real work around here. I wanted to take a second to thank you guys for watching the show and tell you more about some free content that we offer. One of the things that we offer is a free email newsletter. So if you click the link down below, you can sign up for free market analysis, trading tips, and exclusive offers. Every once in a while, someone here at A1 Trading takes a crazy trade and you'll be the first one to know about it. See you guys next time.